I am going to start with 5D, mystics, enlightenment, soul age group, functional adults. 5D, oneness consciousness. It's called Christ consciousness for various reasons, but we can move away from that if we want and just know of it as unconditional love. Oneness consciousness means that you and I know we are part of one big ball of energy. But of course, we're not just a big ball of energy. Otherwise, that would be ridiculous. I wouldn't be speaking to you. However, it is a person who's able to sit and stand and be in alignment with their physical energy and mind body while holding those values. And that's that inner body as well as the heart body. And that's the essence of life. And you know what that means in human terms? It's a restorative embodied self, which is homeostasis, which is actually our mammalian heritage. We are mammalians thanks to our ancestors being able to move into little groups, not be afraid of the lions, because in little groups we would be able to basically figure out how to save each other. And that's where apparently, at least from what I remember from my polyvagal theory course with Stephen Porges, our mammalian nervous system response, which is our ventral vagal nervous system. So being able to sit, say, I'm safe with you and you're safe with me, but also feel that way and use my cortex. And so the cortex is connected to our mammalian nervous system. Oh, so integration of the brain is important. That's a 5D person. So we use our left, which is our chit-chatter. Our right is actually where the sensations, emotions, all that comes up from the body. So a lot of people, the ones who navigate life not like functional adults, which is an emotionally mature human being. So that means you have your 6 basic emotions handled. And you can actually speak to people. When we get angry or charged, we are what our people, I'm not going to use that term because it's not necessary. So a person in equanimity. It means you know how to be in no charge. So I recognize when my 2-year-old tone makes its way. In fact, it's pretty instinctive with my lovely mother and twin because I was a 2-year-old with them. We all build implicit memory, FYI, up till the age of 3, and then we have explicit memory that starts to build. So I'm not going to go and explain that, but anybody who learns trauma-informed, somatic experiencing informed, attachment, so everything that has to do with being a human. Now, let me bring in our lovely spirituality, because see, mystic, as I said, it's beautiful to have clairs. And there's one thing that a 5D mystic all over the world will know as soon as they begin to dream. I'm not special. I'm a human, which means we're all special, and that's it. Because that word anointed, that word special, these words, when they come out of the mouth of a person who's oneness consciousness, which, let me go back. Purusha, that's again awareness of self and pure consciousness. And there's a way that you can know what this is if you're in your optimized human being version. We all are humans. None of us are aliens. I know some people really like the idea. And I know some people have added up a lot of dots, and that's great and dandy. For now, the scientific methodology has been showing our past, and yeah, there's holes, but no need to fill them in, right? Unless, wait a minute, 4D, 3D, flat earthers, that's right. We do have people who like to follow stories. So, let me think. There's also creationism versus Darwinism. Okay, so there you go. You got a bunch of different choices of what you can choose to lean towards. If the scientific methodology, which is where there's actual people doing research. I know how much people think everything gets hidden. I am a political science major. I remember learning about stuff and how, yes, not everything's disclosed. I also remember what it's like to be a researcher because I did have to prepare for my potential thesis statement during my master's, learn how to do research. So, it's really straightforward when you stay grounded. I've met people who have claimed that they know people that are Masons and all these other lovely groups and names. And again, separation consciousness has a way to stay very busy with the dark sides of neuroplasticity. So they use imagination to wire in their story. And that's right. Let's get back to what a functional adult knows how to do because of an integrated brain and a restorative embodied self, and actually wanting to make the world a better place for the entire human race. So having a bigger picture, and that's be back to the spirituality process, because spirituality is a trending topic. But by not looking at I'm a human experience, there's a lot of spiritual bypassers, which is where, back to the anointed ones, they're not anointed. And the fact that they don't even recognize that they're talking about being anointed as if we were in the medieval times, which are not, is a disconnect. So when you have structural dissociation, your left mode of the brain keeps going on with regular life, and the right mode, what comes up, It's only going to be the unresolved trauma, the charged states. Charged states, I think, are different than unresolved trauma, but I'm not 100% sure because I did do trauma-informed educational certificate courses, but I'm not a therapist, so I can confuse data. I'm pseudoscience lady, woo-woo lady, because I'm also a mystic, so there you go. But I'm trying to gather the actual 5D collective, so they're open to woo-woo stuff because they get it. Not everybody is a genius at all, not even close, and I'm not a computer, nor would I want to be. And nor is our brain, by the way, even though, yes, there's a beautiful, beautiful way to be connected to this consciousness, and our brain is a conduit. I love neuroscience too. Oh, and physics. And that's beautiful because when you're in selflessness, timelessness, effortlessness, the 5D don't sit in fear. No, we move to richness, but that's because we know how to work with our emotional body. Adaptive children have what is childhood trauma and or inner child wounds. So their emotions are not yet mature. When they get upset, adaptive children have a way that they handle themselves. Let's go. Terry Real. All trauma is relational and intimacy is the core. Let's see. Julianne Taylor. I've read this one. Neurobiology. Experiences shape the brain. And you know also what experiences do. People have done a lot of stereotypes and generalizations. I was a teenager. I remember saying, why are you doing this? We're talking to each other. Why are you giving me some generalization? I dislike very much stereotypes, especially the gender ones. I learned how to basically be polite enough to disengage so that I would not actually get into conversation with people who have low self-esteem, passive-aggressive, they're codependent types. And all of this means they don't know how to handle their emotions. I do, so I act like a grown-up. Since I was a teenager, I acted like a grown-up, and I still do. Oh, and when you are 5D mystic, you're also a somatic empath. So you can tell that felt sense of self and all that's going on, even though we're never going to say, hey, let me tell you who you are, because that's kind of rude and also not true. I'm going to be present and aware, and I'm going to tune to you because I don't need to be making assumptions about you because you and I are people in different bodies. Oh, that's right. Mind, sight, lens. I know about myself, and when I'm with another, I can have empathy. I can have empathy, though, with compassion, which is much better because empathy is where people stay with burnout, and it's a whole different story. They're not in 5D yet. They're not even close to Enlightenment Soul Age Group or functional adulthood or knowing how to handle their actual physiological brain. And that's because they don't know how to handle their thoughts and their emotions together. That inner growth mindset is really beautiful. So as you tap into your infinite higher human conscious potential experience, just by being equanimous, it means compassionate. It's not good, not bad. No, neutrality. The non-duality, it's more like, oh, here's my likes, here's my dislikes. Yeah, I really didn't like that behavior. I really feel pissy about it right now. Well, it's actually normal. They have their own opinion. It's okay. I don't need to address it as a child. I have what is called self-esteem. Yep, I have empowerment. Yes, I do. And I do know I don't walk in that person's shoes, so I won't be casting a stone. My one and only moment of shame, thank you, Jesus, for teaching me how not to cast a stone and to, yes, forgive them, because that's what it'll feel good to do, to forgive, which really we don't even need to forgive because I'm not God. I'm a humble human being who has nothing to do with, in fact, being any entity whatsoever. Let's talk about culty cults, shall we? And those who are enamored with themselves, and again, anointed one, anyone? So when you hear people from the in-between talking about, oh, as you awaken spiritually, you lose friends. Yes. Ego, anyone? Adaptive children, anyone? Because the only people who want to talk about losing people sounds like high school and drama land. Yes. And so sympathetic nervous system doesn't block you from your spirituality awakening. It's part of your journey to becoming a full-blown adult if you want, emotionally speaking, which means true self-empowerment. It's actually really great because it's here. So here, when I have had people, quote unquote, insult me, Patrick Tiahan, I love you. He is a therapist who is a childhood trauma survivor. And he uses this way to say when people weaponize psych education. And I loved how he was so nice to say sophisticated because I was a teenager. I'm like, there ain't nothing sophisticated about you manipulating your words right now. I know what you're doing. I learned how to disengage from being that straightforward because apparently people don't know, in fact, that they're playing a game because unfortunately they don't know they have unresolved trauma and attachment wounds because unfortunately they didn't look into being a human being. So 5D mystics in functional adulthood land and Enlightenment Soul Age Groups, we bring each other together, but we like direct communication. So we don't do any bullshitting, but we do the tango. And we know how to move away when somebody's stepping on our toes without being mean about it because we understand that we're not here to affect another state of consciousness. They do them, we do us, and love is always the answer. Tune in for more and have a great day.